We cash a 45% winner, turn our longer longs into a potential 60% winner, and happy Valentine's Day. Will the market show us some love? Find out next on Invest with Jacob. Okay, guys, so the market bounced on Friday morning as expected in wave 2 of 3, and we took advantage of that bounce by entering a short position there as well as capturing a free roll on our longer longs. Now the question is, will Valentine's Day be bright red, or will the market give us a bounce? I'll get into that in just one second, but first, if you're new here, welcome to the show, guys. My name is Jacob Gabbard, and this is Invest with Jacob, where we use Elliott Wave Theory to break down the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. I highly encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below so that you can get our daily S&P updates, our trade setups, and our buy alerts. All right, guys, so with the fall here on Friday, about a 100-point fall, the market has moved through the pivot and is now kind of back testing it on the S&P or the ES, the futures. But on the NASDAQ, it is nowhere near back up to the pivot, and I think that's going to be our big indicator for the day. So let's jump into the charts and take a look. Okay, guys, so here we are on the 30-minute futures chart, and we're going to go over the count first, and then I'm going to talk about our two trades because it's kind of important to understand how to trade these things when you see them. So first, let's talk about the count. We talked about a bounce coming from here up in wave 2 of 3, which we got. So we had 1, 2, and now we have our 1, 2, 1, 2 set up. And this is one of the few times you want to short a bull market, is when you get wave 1 of C down, 2 of C up, and then 1 of 3 of C down, and 2 of 3 of C up. We call that a 1, 2, and then lower degree 1, 2 setup. Okay? So when you get that 1, 2, 1, 2, that's where you want to enter your short position. So you can enter a short position once it starts to fall here, okay? And you can catch this huge gain down, which is what we did, knowing that if it bounces back up above this price, you can close out your trade. That should be your exit point. So we entered once it started to fall. It's continued to fall, and we captured this whole move down for a 45% gain. So we did move down to the 1.0 extension, and we moved through the pivot. Now, if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you know the pivot is the 618 to 764 extension of waves 1 and 2. And it moved through that and then started to back test it a little bit here to the 764, and now it's falling again. I don't think we'll get back up to the 618, and that is what you would expect for a pullback from the 1.0. I think this wave 3 really needs to extend more because we have to get down to this lower low target that we're looking at for this wave 3 to play out. So normally you would expect wave 3 to hit the 1.0 or 1.236 extensions, then come back and test the pivot. And if it hit the 1.0, you would want to see it test the 618. If it hit the 1.236, you would want to see it test the 764. However, because I do think this needs to extend, I think we are much more likely for this to continue lower and wave 3 of 3 to hit more down here around the 1618, around 43.15 before we see a bounce. And then that bounce would take us back up to 43.64, okay, for wave 4 of 3. And then we would look for wave 3 to complete around the 2.0 extension, which would be 42.67. This is normally where you would expect the full wave to end. But again, I think we need extensions to get down here. So I'm looking for wave 3 to extend and complete down around 42.67. From there, of course, we'd look for wave 4 up and then wave 5 down to complete the move, give us that lower low we've been looking for, complete the 5-wave move down, the wave C down, the bigger wave 5 down, the bigger wave C down, and the bigger wave 4 down. So a lot ends down here to complete this move. So what we're really watching for here is the interaction with this pivot. If they drive it back up through this pivot, it creates a more complex structure, because once you break the pivot back to the upside on a downside move, it usually indicates a higher rate of failure of that downside move. So we want to watch 44.42 as our main resistance. Assuming they can hold that and keep pressing lower, this can extend and should extend down towards that 41.50 area. Now let's talk about our longer long trade that we have and how we executed it as a free roll now. So we bought June 30 options contracts down here at 430 strike price, okay? So as long as the market's above 430, that's what we're looking for by June. They cost $25, okay? On this spike up, when we had the 1-2-1-2 setup and a very high indication that we were going to come down lower again and give away all of our profits, we sold the 445 strike price for $25.75. So we bought this one down here for $25 at 430, sold 445 for $25.75, giving us a 15-point spread and they paid us 75 cents to do it. So we've already made 75 cents per contract, and on June 30th, for every dollar that we're over 430 on the SPY, we make $1 on our contract up to $15 because our strike price here is 445. So if the market is over 445 on the SPY and on June 30th, we make $15 per contract with absolutely zero risk in the game. In fact, they paid us 75 cents per contract to do this. So this is a way to hedge your bet, give you a chance at a 60% gain because we initially paid $25 here. And if we collect all $15, which we expect to do by then, if we collect all $15, okay, that's a 60% win on our initial investment. And we now have no money invested in that trade, and in fact, 75 cents of profit. Okay, so those are little things you can do to hedge or give yourself low risk, high reward trades. You now have a 60% chance, or a chance at a 60% win with absolutely zero money invested whatsoever. Okay, so again, to recap what we're looking for here, we're looking for a continued move down, and I really think that wave 3 of 3 will target much deeper than we normally see. Normally, we'd see the 43.64 area, but I think we're going to look more like at the 43.15 area for wave 3 of 3, and then we would look for a bounce in 4 from there. And the reason I think this, one, is we got to hit this low down here, and two, the NASDAQ is again giving us the clue. It's kind of been the leader in this whole move down. As I've said, it hasn't broken as many rules as the S&P futures has, and has a much cleaner structure, and it continues to point lower. So let's go look at the NASDAQ. Okay, guys, so here we are on the 30-minute NASDAQ futures chart, and very similar setup. You got the 1-2 setup that we saw, okay, and then you got the breakdown through the pivot here. Now, the big difference between the S&P futures and the NASDAQ is the rebound down here. So it pushed through the 1.0 further than the ES futures did, and it has not come anywhere near backtesting the pivot. In fact, it's been in a corrective structure down here and is now looking to start to retest the lows more than it is to test the pivot like the ES futures is. So I think we're likely to see a move down, and a deeper move down at that, because of the extensions we need. I would expect the NASDAQ to also try for this 1618 or deeper, which is the 13,957 region. That makes sense. Around 14,000 would be support, and then see a bounce from there. So tomorrow, I kind of think we're going to have a bright red Valentine's Day with extended moves down in both the S&P futures and the NASDAQ futures. But if they can find a rally and push back up through the pivots, it does create a more complex structure that we'll have to address at the time. But again, the NASDAQ is giving us the better clues, as it did not retrace back up to its pivot. It's been holding down here in a consolidation corrective pattern and kind of a bear flag, looking like it wants to push lower, and I think that is what we'll see. So key level to watch to the upside on the NASDAQ for breakdown is 14,458, which is the top of the pivot. Again, if we break the pivot to the upside on a downside move, that is a good indication that the downside move has failed and we have a different structure to figure out. Guys, if you like the information that I put out in these videos and you want real-time market updates from me, you need to check out investwithjacob.com. Okay, once you get there, hit our membership plans, and you get a 1-week free trial with either membership plan that you choose. So you have 7 days to come in there, kick the tires, see our trades, see my updates, get all your questions answered. Make sure it's for you and check it out. So there's 2 different plans. There's my Invest with Jacob plan, which is my room, where you get all of my trade alerts, all of my daily updates, and I answer all your Elliott Wave questions, as well as the Throne Room with PT, who is one of the best traders I've ever been around. If you go in and check out his room for that free 7-day trial, you will not be disappointed in what you see. The guy is killing the market. He is unbelievable. You can scroll down and see all the incredible reviews. We actually care about our traders here, guys. We are like a big trading family, and it's really an awesome place to learn or improve your trading. So come on over and check us out. You get that 7-day free trial. Kick the tires. If you love us, awesome. Come on in. If you don't, I understand. Find out where you're happy, okay? Key takeaways for today. We're watching to see if the market can extend this move down like we think it will. I really think it will be able to push lower into this 1618 area because we need to extend to hit this target. However, if they do bounce and push back through the pivot, we will have to assess the situation then. The NQ, the NASDAQ, is telling us the same thing. Although it's giving us better clues than the ES futures, it has gotten nowhere near back up to its pivot, and it is much closer to consolidating and breaking this bear flag to the downside to continue pushing this wave 3 of 3 which we think will be around that 14,000 region. All right, guys, that is the market update for today. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy new week. Let's have an awesome week of trading. I will talk to you tomorrow.